At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like your boat when you're at sea and you get away from everything. Your home and the security of your daughter's things. And the car that you've had for too long, but after all these years, you just can't let go. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
Just another Caribbean airport. We're an international gateway designed with you, the traveler, in mind. SXM provides a state-of-the-art international travel experience where ease and convenience is second only to safety and efficiency. At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and an exciting new airport mall. Finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport. The experience will move you.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andrew Dick. Okay, dokie, kids, what's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We begin with the news that the 2025 budget is still being discussed. The Minister of Finance, Ms. Marinka Gomes, decided to say in Parliament that, you see, let me tell you the thing is, I don't understand why are you always harassing me, because I just always come and I just come correct. She liked to stress on the final words. And then, and all you MPs that was there before me, let me educate you on something that is happening in this country. I here to fix things because I finance. So that means I got fine money. That's money. She was like, it's like, no, that's, anyway. She then continues to say, I know you ain't gonna believe me. Take a look. This is her in the press briefing talking about the budget.
Good morning, Charity, fellow colleague ministers, members of the press, and to people of St. Martin, good morning and blessed day to all. I want to take this opportunity to provide you with important updates on several key matters. Allow me to begin with an update on the first quarter financials results for 2025. Total revenue during Q1 amounted to 162 million guilders, exceeding projections by 15 million guilders. This positive variance is mainly driven by a 14 million guilder increase in tax revenues. On the expenditure side, total expenses were 19 million guilders below budget. This is largely due to a 13 million guilder in lower personnel costs. However, we do anticipate a rise in personnel expenses in the coming quarters following the enactment of the 2025 budget, particularly due to the payments of vacation allowances in Q2 and the retroactive indexation scheduled for payout to all civil servants in July 2025. The profit for the first quarter is a surplus of 38 million guilders. While we remain cautiously optimistic, it is important to note that Q1 and Q4 are traditionally the strongest revenue quarters. At the same time, we must remain vigilant as major financial obligations, including loan repayments, are scheduled primarily for Q3. Regarding the hot topic on the dividend withholding tax, I have previously provided clarity and reiterated that this measure will not increase the domestic tax burden for residents or local businesses. I wish to emphasize that the topic of dividend tax, along with broader tax reform measures such as the retraction of outdated taxes, profit tax reform, retraction of turnover tax exemption for casinos and others has been part of stakeholder consultations over past years, specifically since 2022 under the TWO project. What we must realize, however, is that discussion alone does not result in change. As Minister of Finance, I made a decision to move beyond dialogue and begin implementation. The introduction of this dividends withholding tax is the result of a deliberate policy choice aimed at ensuring fairness, requiring foreign investors who benefit from the local economy to contribute their fair share. It was recently claimed that this measure came out of the woodworks and that no discussions were held with stakeholders. I clarified this matter. Discussions were in fact held over several years with key stakeholders. What did not happen was a decision. Many matters are discussed, but ultimately parked. The difference now is that I, along with my team and the Ministry of Finance, have chosen to act in order for our country to evolve and for us to provide meaningful relief to St. Martin businesses and residents through reductions in the profit tax and wage tax. Actual decisions must be taken. That is precisely what I am doing. If we truly want to improve critical social sectors such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and mental health services, we must acknowledge that sustainable progress demands meaningful investment in St. Martin. What we cannot do is we can no longer continue to have champagne dreams on bare budgets. In the coming weeks, the retraction law will be submitted to Parliament to formally withdraw two tax ordinances that, while still legally in effect, are not being enforced and will not be in the future. These are the Inheritance Tax Ordinance and the Land Tax Ordinance. This legislative step is being taken to create legal certainty and clarity, both for our local residents and for potential investors. Eliminating outdated and unused laws helps build confidence in our legal and fiscal framework. As I have stated before, it is time to move beyond discussions. For too long, we have talked about reform. Now it is time for action. With this retraction, we are demonstrating a commitment to meaningful, practical tax reform for the benefit of the country. I look forward to presenting and defending this legislation before Parliament in the third quarter of this year. And on to two other topics. As you're aware, this month is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, a time to break the silence surrounding the emotional struggles our men often endure alone. Too many are taught to suppress their pain, fearing judgment if they show vulnerability. But vulnerability is not weakness, it is courage. A powerful reminder of this came to me this weekend by Renee Cotto Wilson, whose heartfelt post and poem, A Man's Pain, gave voice to the silent battles many men face. His bravery is a call for all of us to listen, support, and act. We must challenge outdated stigmas, promote open conversation, and create safe spaces where our men feel truly seen and heard. I also want to commend the ongoing hard work of the St. Martin Mental Health Foundation, whose dedication professionals continue to serve with care despite many challenges. As we raise awareness, let us remember we often expect others to tell us what they're going through. Perhaps it's time we dare to ask, how are you really doing? Let us stand united in making mental health a shared priority, not just this month, but every day. And finally, I want to offer words of congratulations, as it brings me immense pride, and I'm sure that of the Minister of Education as well, and joy to extend heartfelt congratulations to all of our graduates and students who have been promoted this academic year. Your achievements are a reflection of dedication, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of our youth. Today, we celebrate the extraordinary accomplishments of several shining examples, namely Anzario Serrant, who has completed an exceptional academic journey, earning a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science, a Bachelor of Law in Global Law, a Master's of Law in Business Law, a Master's of Law in International Business Taxation, and a Juris Doctor, demonstrating what is possible with with vision and perseverance. Sharina David, who has conquered not one, but 2 master's degrees in public health with concentrations in epidemiology, biostatistics, and health administration and leadership. Her achievement was shaped by long nights and unshakable support. Miruhia Richardson have now obtained her bachelor's degree in education, steps into one of the most noble professions, teaching. As a society, we must continue to uplift and honor our educators who carry the responsibility of shaping minds and nurturing the next generation. And I proudly recognize Mr. Tyreek Heiliger, the first high school graduate of Ocean View Academy. Tyreek's grit and determination to graduate this June 2025 is commendable, and his journey reminds us of the importance of small, supportive, and nurturing learning environments that offer one-on-one attention in a family-like atmosphere where students are truly seen and encouraged to thrive. To all graduates, continue to walk in your purpose. And to those who may have fallen short of the grade, do not be discouraged. Your journey is far from over, and your resilience today is the foundation of tomorrow's success. I am proud of you all. I would like to note that tomorrow I return along with my colleague ministers and the Honorable Prime Minister to Parliament for the continuation of the public sessions on Budget 2025. I look forward to a constructive debate, and I remain hopeful that we will soon have an enacted budget in place to guide the financial trajectory of our country. As Minister of Finance, I remain committed to being transparent. I will continue to provide regular updates as we move forward on these important matters and welcome any questions you may have. Thank you.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. You come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those condoms, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yo. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yo. I get those goosebumps every time.
Having trouble with my internet. It's dropping in my bedroom and the kitchen.
Problem in your internet is your Wi-Fi. You see, things like the size of your house, the building materials you use, like concrete walls, whether you have multiple floors. And let's not forget the distance between your modem and your devices, like your computer, your phone, TV. All these have an effect on the quality and the strength of your Wi-Fi.
How do you know this stuff?
You need to check Telem. They have mesh devices that allow you to create your own smart Wi-Fi network to cover your entire home. It's a few small devices working together like a team to cover your entire house with strong Wi-Fi signal. Super easy. Here, I get one from Telem today. Download the app from your phone app store, plug in the device, and plug into the modem. When light blinks blue, it's ready to pair via the app. Go to app, click next, and follow the instruction. Place a second device where you need coverage. Boom. Now you're covered. Telem makes it super easy. They offer convenient payment plans of just $12 a month. And my guy, and if you opt to get the fiber plan, they'll come and install it for you. Guess what? For free.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna get my smart Wi-Fi plan today.
Hey, let's do this thing.
Today itself.
Get your smart Wi-Fi from Telem today.
So you understand what I mean now? Oh, okay. So now we get that out of the way. Of course, the members of parliament are pissed off. How pissed off? Well, they went in parliament, and I have to give them 5 minutes each because the opposition was oppositioning.
The first one up is MP Duran. You have the floor.
Good morning. Madam Chair, I have a few clarifications. Through you to the Honorable Minister with regards to Rainforest Adventure, and I'm going to say this for the record. I do believe that the ministers are playing a sort of I don't know if to call it tug of war or monkey in the middle, because when I asked the Minister of VROMI initially about the entire process in terms of a tax exemption, the initial response was there was no tax exemption. Oh, my daughter calling me. There was no tax exemption, and there was no exemption request for the long lease relief. However, earlier tonight, the Minister of VROMI mentioned, yes, there was a proposal/request from Rainforest Adventure that has not been approved as yet or something along those lines. And now the Minister is coming here of Finance and saying there was no request. So through you, Madam Chair, I would like to get clarity. Was there a request for any sort of exemption of taxes or payments to the receiver's office for Rainforest Adventures? Yes or no? And please, I mean, if they could communicate so that the story could be in one line, I would appreciate it. Madam Chair, I must say, through you to the Minister, Minister, you have done, with all due respect, and I don't mean this in any sort of disrespectful manner, but I just have to say it, you have done a great job at confusing the masses. The reason why I say that, Minister, is because you're mentioning now this is nothing new, while everybody was under the impression, based on through you, Madam Chair, my apologies, that it was new based on your article. And it states, Minister of Finance Marinka Gomes has announced the introduction of a new 10% dividends withholding tax, a landmark initiative expected to significantly bolster the country's revenue base. The announcement was made during the ongoing 2025 budget debate, goes on to the end and states, unlike a tourist tax which modernized the expanding upon previous regulation, the dividend tax is wholly a new initiative under the Minister of Finance, Minister Gomes. And that's an article written by the Minister. So is it new or not? Because you mentioned through you, Madam Chair, there's an 18%, so this additional 10% would then equal 28%. Madam Chair, through you, I requested a documentation of the stakeholder consultation, so I look forward to that being provided. I also heard the Minister mention that the advices would be shared as well. I'm glad to hear that this minister is willing to share advices through you, Madam Chair, while we just had the colleague Minister of TIAT mention that advices are not allowed to come to Parliament. Again, through you, Madam Chair, please, as the Presidium, Secretary General, call the Prime Minister, and please get this document sharing situation under control, because some ministers have more things to hide than others. And I think that, again, it has to be one line. It cannot be that the Prime Minister is providing advices and documents through the regular confidential route, and certain ministers are choosing not to. I would like the Minister of Finance feedback on document sharing as well. Madam Chair, through you, my motion is very clear, so I would not like for any misconstrued situation in terms of how the minister is trying to explain it. My motion is simply saying to suspend any implementation until Parliament is properly informed of the stakeholder engagements, the steps that are to be taken based on the manner in which it was presented, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, based on what I understood from the minister, majority of the staff doesn't even know about the tax or learn about it during the press briefing. So if that can be clarified as well. Madam Chair, through you, I asked a question during the first round, which was unanswered. When I asked a question, what is the Ministers of Finance stance on the statement made by the Minister Tiat that there was nothing improper about the manner in which the financial process was handled with Soul Beach? Were all the compliance rules, compatibility for auditing, were all those steps followed? I didn't get a response to that. And Madam Chair, when I saw the minister bring up the paper, I really expected that an exclusive was about to drop. But this was mentioned by the former Minister of Finance, my colleague MP yesterday, in terms of exploring all options in terms of revenue generating. So for me, Madam Chair, it is pretty clear what this is, and I heard the minister mention the word politic a lot of times, but I think the politicking is coming from Swaliga Boulevard, and I really just would like some clarity on the questions posed, because at the end of the day, Madam Chair, I have an obligation to my constituents, and I will not be silenced by no minister. I will ask every single question I need to ask, and if I have to ask it 10 times to get clarity on it, based on the manner in which it's responded to, I will do that. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here on anyone that is in this room's invitation. I'm here to represent the people, and I was given that mandate. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the clarification responses. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Duran. The next member of parliament is MP York. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'll be brief. In one of my first questions, I elucidated on back to a earlier debate where I explained that the minister not having the tax to GDP ratio readily available then, and not having a tax to GDP ratio where the target where she would like to get to, through you, Madam Chair, is not knowing where we are, and not in order to know where we're going, we got to know where we are. And I asked those same questions again. And when I look at the answers, so basically, what is our current tax to GDP ratio? What is a target tax to GDP ratio? I don't see that anywhere in the answer given. Maybe I'm not seeing it. The minister answered something else. Maybe the question wasn't fully understood. But basically, that was what my first question was. Moving forward, so if the minister can clarify those two questions for me, please. I also asked for the implementation strategy of what the minister has planned for her tax reform, especially as it pertains to dividend taxing moving forward. And the minister stated in her answer that this is still being worked on by the reform work group. Madam Chair, through you, can the minister clarify that if it's still, the plan is still being worked on, why is there a tax now, whether it's old, whether it was on a sideline, whatever category the minister would want to call it, why is this being rolled out or being worked on now while the rest is still part of the work group? So why are we not waiting until the work group is complete before rolling out anything to have a total comprehensive outlook on where we're going? So can the minister clarify why she's taking the route she's taking instead of just waiting for everything to be completed before execution? And I also asked the minister, how does the implementation of the dividends tax increase compliance? The minister did, through you, Madam Chair, answer the question, but I didn't fully understand the explanation. So if the minister can explain it in a bit more layman's terms, I'm not a tax specialist, but if the minister can explain it in more layman's terms, that I will be able to follow it a bit more, because I didn't understand. It was explained, but I didn't understand the explanation. And Madam Chair, I would also like the minister to clarify if on that list that she alluded to as it pertains to what the former Minister Aaron was working on as it pertains to the different phases, if there was a exemption for corporate tax for housing associations also on that list. So can the minister clarify if such a tax is found somewhere on the list that she was alluding to, and that would bring further clarity to the different phases for my person. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP York. The next MP for clarification is MP Irian. You have the floor.
Good morning, President. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Honorable Minister of Finance and support staff, all the staff still working, and the viewing public. Madam Chair, the minister, through you, kept mentioning throughout her answering that this is not a new tax, this is not a new tax. But the minister is making it seem as if the members of parliament is the one or are the ones that mentioned this is a new tax. As was stated before, the Minister of Finance in her own press release on the government's website is the one that mentioned that Minister of Finance Marinka Gums has confirmed during the budget debate that the new 10% dividend withholding tax is on the way. Not the members of parliament, the minister and her PR is the one that said that. So I think it's very unfair to say that we are making it seem as if it's a new tax, whereas that's the statement of the minister herself. Matter of fact, in the other press release, it stated a landmark new initiative. That was not us that said that. That was the minister that said that. Madam Chair, and it's very confusing, and I can understand why the business community is very confused, because the minister keeps referencing Bonaire, for example. And to clarify, the minister said that the government is expected to make 10 million guilders, and the local businesses will not be affected because they get a credit. So that would mean that the 10 million guilders is generated only off of the foreign entities. And I questioned, I said, in Bonaire, the local residents also pay, and there's no mechanism for a refund. So I would like clarity on that, Madam Chair. The 10 million guilders, is that only from foreign entities? Because we can't be saying we're getting 10 million guilders on one end, but then you're getting a credit on the other end. Okay, then the money is off. So what is this 10 million guilders based off of? Only foreign entities or local entities? Or are we going to hold the local entities' money for a while and give them back in the future? The minister also mentioned that, matter of fact, the minister kept mentioning that the dividends currently is already paid locally. So maybe to clarify for everyone, because I think other MPs also asked me this. So how much dividends is collected right now by the government? So if we're saying that they're collecting right now already, how much is that? So then we can extrapolate the data and know. The minister mentioned that dividend is typically paid out once a year. But what is that based on? How does the minister know that dividends is paid out once a year? Because you can have a quarterly dividend or not. Through you, Madam Chair, the minister keeps mentioning that it's not a new tax, but I want clarity. If businesses were not legally required to withhold or remit 10% on dividends payouts before, then it's a new legal requirement, a new compliance, a new obligation. So how is it not a new tax? I also asked the minister, has the tax administration confirmed whether the current IT systems can even process or track the dividends withholding? Can the current IT system do this? The minister mentioned that TWO will do procurement system, but that's not what I asked. I asked, can the current IT systems do that? Because we're going to implement it in January. We need to know now if it's possible. I also asked, what is budgeted for the campaign, because the minister mentioned that, and even other MPs mentioned, and even press releases, that we're talking about things that have nothing to do with the budget, but it does have to do with the budget. It has to do with our expenses. So how much is budgeted for the campaign, and when will IVI start? I also asked a question regarding Soul Beach and the 175,000 I asked to both ministers, and I know it's already late, so I'll just have to put the other questions in the second round that was missed. But the Minister of TIAT mentioned that Soul Beach is an additional revenue. And the minister's answers also, she said that the payment was made in 2024. And that's true, I'm assuming. But the Minister of TIAT also mentioned that payments were also made in 2025. But the Minister of Finance specific to the mentioned that the payment was made in 2024. The concessions were already paid. The Minister of TIAT mentioned this is an additional payment based on revenues owed. That is not reflected in budget 2024. The government, and I also stated it, the government cannot, you can have money in a bank account, but if it's not budgeted, the government cannot legally, as per the Constitution, as per the NFTA, as per the National Accountability Ordinance, take money off the account and make any payments unless it's budgeted. So again, we're in 2024, and according to the answers given before, you cannot say I'll fix it in the annual accounts, because it was never budgeted. So again, where in 2024 or 2025 were the additional payments or the income from the port reflected in the budget so that the government was able to execute? Now I'll leave it there, Madam Chair, and I'll just go further in the second round.
Time for commercial break. When we come back, more late night. Stay with us.
I'm calling my heart, calling my heart, calling my
Here
heart.
in St. Martin, we take pride in our island and want the world to see us, to hear us, and to dream about us.
Oh my God, this gotta be the first place with these now. Yeah, this is it. Can I get this one printed, please?
Of course, let me get it ready for you. Here you go.
Thank you, bro. Like, this was really quick and I appreciate it because I'm on the run. Have a good one.
Yes.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Now, in this segment, let me talk about something called the FBE school result. And also the fact that Milton Peters College is bragging about a 52% average rate, which means it's really, really bad. It's really, really bad. When are we going to revisit the FBE examinations, and when are we going to revisit the way we test our kids in the biggest high school in St. Martin, which is who? The Milton Peters College. Yeah, 1,200 strong every single year. It's getting less and less and less. So who's motivating the kids? I'm not going to blame the overworked teachers who just recently maybe some kind of how received their vacation pay. What are we doing? We're expecting the teachers to perform in school, but yet at the end of the day, we still have to end up bailing out the teachers by protesting or telling Metropolitan Cabinet, hey, wake up now, wake up. You're supposed to be working. Wake up. And then now that they're in Parliament for this budget amendment, guess what? They're shaking because their job is on the line. Yes, it's on the line because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and you always come with excuses. people think it's because I'm petty is the reason why I'm not wanting to interview the Council of Ministers anymore or sharing any of their achievements or their press releases that they send out to every media. So it's nothing special. But when your boss calls you to come to Parliament, yeah, because the 15 members there, they appoint you to be there, just in case you forgot about it. They kind of come together, and then they had the opposition that was like, nah, or you suck. And then the ones who had more votes end up being a what? A coalition. So we put a minister there to do what the coalition says, in the interest of St. Martin, of course. But then what after? I don't know. I'm just a comedian. Time for another commercial break. When we come back, more late night.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas!
That is for Late Night Show. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant one. Bye-bye.